Okay. Today we're having a session on the impact of ESG, environment, social, and governance on as a priority for one of the members of the banking sector, Arab African International Bank. It's very interesting to see how Egypt is having this COP 27. It's a testimonial of our priority. It's testimonial of how Egypt is looking at combating climate change. It's also a good way for us to look at how Egypt is setting targets to reach something like 42% of their renewable electricity from renewable sources. Very proud to be part of the COP, and walking around here is just make us proud of how we can pull together such an impressive event. I'd like also to thank our panel for coming, because it's very interesting for us to have this discussion of something that's dear to our heart. A very experienced panel. We hope to look at a lot of input from you, a lot of thoughts on ESG, our thoughts, and helping us at the bank to look in a bigger perspective at this time. And for us at Arab Africa International Bank, we're a very active bank from long ago. We were the first in a lot of things. We were first in UNEPFI, participating with them, UNGC. We were first even to sign a Equator Principle, and we'll talk about it later in more details. But environment and social was big agenda for us for a long time back, and we carry it dearly in the way we act in the market. Last but not least, I want to talk about our participation in a lot of deals. We looked at a lot of our customers, like Solarize. Solarize is a customer of ours that we looked at financing to provide electricity for Hurghada, Sharm el Sheikh, and we did it with EBRD and GFF. We also looked at customers like Enara. We also looked at them to see on how to work with them on the renewable energy. It's very important for us, not only on the corporate level, but also on the SME level and retail level. We have a lot of initiatives. One of them, for example, is in cooperation with Central Bank and Ministry of Finance, where we're replacing the single fuel consumption of the car to dual fuel consumption to reduce emission. There's a lot of other items like providing loans even for homeowners, customized for their solar panels and everything. Very interesting time for us, and we're really looking more and more to participate after this such a big event. At the end, before I show you our video, I'd like to tell you that our 3 pillars of strategy, which is financial resilience, agility, and customer centricity, are really embedded in our sustainability fundamentals. And in this video, we'll show you how we really embedded our entire strategy now. Where did we find parts in it where we can embed our sustainability and our social responsibility? There's a lot of examples that we're trying to do to show and walk the walk with our staff and with our customers to integrate them. So let me show you the video, and then we start our panel.
Arab African International Bank, a strong legacy of setting the trend for sustainable finance and value creation. A bold strategy marking a new era of modernization. Financial resilience is responsibility and diversity. Agility and innovation going beyond banking and creating endless opportunities. Customer centricity is empowerment and a lifetime experience. At Arab African International Bank, success is sustainable.
Well, thank you, and would like to invite our panel to come across. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Haytham, AMD Group Chief Operating and Transformation Officer at the Arab African International Bank. Please have your seat. I'd like also to welcome Dr. Muhammad Salahuddin, Quality Energy and Executive General Manager at SEDBIC. Dr. Mohammed, pleasure to have you. Mr. Hussam Azzuddin, EPAP Director, Green Finance Program. Thank you so much for being with us. And myself, Ihab Shalabi, Chairman and CEO of Decarbon Egypt. Very pleased to be with all of you today. 2 days for the COP to go. In the first day, we felt, after the international community vested its trust in Egypt, we felt being honored by this. After what we have seen during the past 10 days, from organization to a whole nation approach, all sectors participating, we are feeling more achieved, not only honored. And I think the level of confidence and self-esteem of what Egypt can do is getting a push, a high push, in fact. And this is what I can see, and I can understand from all of the comments that were thrown across different panels and across different experts here. Definitely, the COP is considered as a milestone that will be considered in the history of the ESG transformation in Egypt. And let me start this panel by saying that where money is, GHG emissions are. Finance and financial intermediation always has played a very important role in achieving GDP growth rates, and also at this point, definitely, without adaptation and without transformation in the financial sector, we are not expecting the other industrial sector to make any kind of transformation. Without the assistance of the financial sector, we are not thinking that any transformation will be successful. Definitely, the signal should come first from the financial sector that we are changing, and that investments and finance will be more and more linked to your ESG inputs. In fact, the Arab African International Bank was the first bank in Egypt who signed the Equator Principles. So in terms of risks, he was a pioneer. The Arab African International Bank is among the founding signatories of the UNEP-FI PRB principles. And the Arab African International Bank was among the first banks to report in accordance to the GRI standards, even before the GRI was in Egypt. It's a bank with a legacy in this file. And the legacy stayed long only vested in Arab African International Bank until other banks started to join 5 or 6 years ago, and we can see that the movement is consolidating in this direction. So ESG risks and opportunities has been on the table in the Arab African International Bank for long, and today, with everybody catching the wave, I think the role of the African International Bank will be more is to see how it will pioneer the future scene with other banks. At this point, and starting from the major issue, this COP has been around 3 major pillars: mitigation, adaptation, and finance. And finance, in fact, for me, is not a separate pillar and should not be only seen as a separate pillar, but it is cross-cutting mitigation and adaptation in general. Africa's share of international ESG investments is less than 10%. And out of those 10%, less than 5% was directed to adaptation. So in fact, it is clear for me across the past 10 days that despite the opportunities that has been mentioned by all international organizations in terms of mitigation and adaptation in Africa and Egypt, still, and despite the existence of finance, ESG finance, which is according to the International Investment Alliance, exceeded 31 trillion in 2020, with an increase of 16% annually, which means that We are expecting by 2030 that all kind of finance that will be existing all around the world will be ESG finance. With the existence of this supply and this demand, there is some sort of mismatch. There is some sort of challenges between the supply side and the demand side that we would like to hear about today from different stakeholders. And the beauty of the three of you is that we have the financial house, we have the international finance and know-how, and we have the clients. But we will be very frank for everybody to address everybody challenges, asking him what kind of challenges he is facing on one hand. A recent study we are working on showed that the mismatch between supply and demand is a factor of one of four variables, if not the four variables. Number one, the lack of suitable and tested technologies. Financial institutions are always shy to invest in unproved technologies. Second, sometimes it is lack of policies and regulations that assists the market to adopt new solutions. Third is the lack of awareness and the know-how. And this is very important in our context, I think. Always ESG finance and green finance is seen as a cost and not as an opportunity. So accordingly, what our main aim is today is to discuss what kind of challenges is facing the bridge between demand and supply of finance, with the supply side and the demand side on the table. Appreciate in the first round to start by a very important question. I would like Hussein to start by you. I would like you to introduce yourself, give us a brief but yet comprehensive understanding about EPAP, current status and the future status and the future projects of the EPAP. And from the past experiences, what was the main learned lessons working in ESG finance for, I think, 1997, you started, right? From 1997, working on this file from 1997, which is definitely before the world was acquainted, before the term ESG finance was invented. Working in this file for this long period, what was the major also notices and major lessons learned from this program across the floor?
Hello. Thank you very much, Ihab, and thanks, Haytham, for the invitation. It's always a pleasure to come and share knowledge with very solid panel. So I want to build on something you said, Ihab. You started by saying that we are talking here, we are in COP, and we're talking about mitigation and adaptation. And finance, obviously, because we wouldn't have mitigation or neither adaptation project if we don't have finance. So finance is a very, I would say, a milestone or very crucial element of the triangle of climate action. So today, as we are talking about finance, I would like to introduce EPAP. First, EPAP is the Egyptian Pollution Abatement Program. It's a program funded by EU, the European Union, funded by the EIB, European Investment Bank, by AFD, Agence Française du Développement, and the KfW, the German construction banks. So what we have is a portfolio, a financial portfolio of right now at this phase. This is, like Ihab said, this is the third phase of EPAP. We have been starting working that. It was really the seeds of green economy in Egypt since 1997. At this phase, EPAP 3, we have about 135 million, which is about to really be completed by Q1 of next year. And then we just signed 2 days ago, Dr. Yasmin Fouad, our Ministry of Environment, together with Dr. Rani Al-Mashad, Ministry of International Cooperation, and representative from the EU. We signed a letter of intent to implement phase 4 of this program under the slogan or under the name of GSI, Green Sustainable Industry, under which we will have 270 million that comes in loans, very soft loans and grant. The way it works, the program present or offer a long-term loans at a very attractive rates and a percentage of grant. Obviously, the grant come and affect the interest rate, the effective interest rate of the loan, and the amount of grant could be from 10 all the way to 30% in case of SME. So what else EPAP can offer? EPAP offer the program, offer financial support, like I said. It also offer technical support at no extra cost for the end users. So we have 16 expert in-house, university professors, expat, who can provide the know-how and share best available technique with the end users. So technical support, financial support. I also have to say that one of the hidden service and support we provide is the legislative support, which include the regulatory support, regulatory services, expediting permits, because we are based within the same building with the Ministry of the Environment. So we can push around to get the permits, for example, EIA, like environmental impact assessment, where it is, what's the status of these of the studies, and how can we get it approved, because it's a very important critical phase of the process. So the program, like I said, without taking a long time, the program is available, and right now we are in heading or embarking a new phase. Its fourth phase with 270 million directed toward industry to be used to transfer them into green economy, to help or to give them solution to first of all develop and demonstrate and practice their ESG systems. As you know, ESG, it's not a one-time exercise. You cannot come and just say, okay, I already settle, I have my ESG. It's all about the continuous improvement cycle. It's a PDCA, plan, do, check, act. And you go around and around, and it's an evergreen process. It's one year after the other, and the more you go one cycle, you get better, and you get better every time. So I'm sure you share that with your client. We cannot present or highlight ESG systems or ESG practice as a one-time set of systems or policies. So with that, I think I want to give the talk back to you, so we can hear from our one of our end users, because he used EPAP. He's about to embark a journey. So maybe we can listen from them also. What's their experience with EPAP, and if EPAP was helpful for them in what sense? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hossein. I'd like to ask you two questions. What are the major sectors that you are financing and the major governorates that you are addressing?
Thank you very much, Neha. So we do cover all type of industries within Egypt. So namely, like we will hear from Dr. Mohammed Salah, petrochemical. We also cover fertilizers, textile, glasses, cement, and so forth and so on. We have also, to name a few, printing industries, which is a very upcoming within Egypt as well. When I say printing, we can say printing on textile or printing on food within food industry. Probably can be covered under food industry. Back to your second question, which governorate we cover? We are designed to cover the 27 governorate of Egypt. Yet most of my projects are within Cairo and Alexandria. We have one in Upper Egypt within Said Masr. It's Shirkat al-Sukkar al-Masriya, which is they have different plants. So we have it in Hawamdiya, Armant, and Abu Oras. So they have 3 plants within Upper Egypt, and we're also taking them. Maybe now it's worth to mention, because I forgot what EPAP is doing. Is taking those companies, especially the public companies, through a journey from first achieving the milestone of compliance. We need to get them into the discipline of التزام بيئي, environmental compliance first, and then once they achieve that, we'll take them to the next. We raise the bar and we'll take them to the next level of energy efficiency, or SCP, sustainable consumption and production. Resource efficiency, alternative fuels, like you're going to hear with SITPAC. SITPAC had a long journey. We didn't even need it to discuss with them environmental compliance, because they are way beyond that. They went straight to their, like I say, you cannot have a master if you don't have a bachelor, for example. So you need to establish the baseline of environmental compliance before you go beyond and achieve ESG's goals, i.e. energy efficiency, sustainable consumption, and circular economy as well. So I hope with this I answered your 2 questions.
Yes,
Thank
definitely.
you.
I will not leave you, Hussein. Still.
You can always come back to me. You know?
Yeah. The know-how part is very important here. I think what you can share also with us from insights, I'd like to know from you, what are the main sectors that you can find opportunities in, yet untapped potential?
Within industry?
Yes.
Untapped from our side, you mean?
I mean, the industry has
okay. This is a very good question, because and this will take me to maybe you can also highlight on that. We have a lot of good program within the Egyptian market. The demand is high. I can feel it. I can see it. We have 5 participant banks. We started with 5 participant local banks, and then we had a 6th bank joining us, and hope we have the Bank Al-Arabi Al-Afriqi to join us as well. So the demand is there, but there is those 2 parties, they can find each other sometimes, the end user and the financial institution, or the lender facilities. So there is a void that we need to fill, and it's our role, it's your role, it's our role to make those people connect or match them together. So definitely the missing untapped industry, I would say not an industry but a category, would be the SMEs. The SMEs are we need to work on them for several reasons. One is for the bank to lend them, we want to make sure they have the necessarily creditworthiness. They have necessarily bankability to join that program. So that's not always the case. So what we did in one case is to cluster several SMEs together and have an entity, like for example, in this case will be how do you call that? I can't remember, but usually there is الشركة القابضة. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The holding companies which is responsible for this industry. So what we do is we cluster 5 or 6 SMEs, and we ask الشركة القابضة, or the holding companies of this industry, to kind of guarantee them or co-sign with them the loan. In this case, we presented to the bank a good business case, and it worked very good. It worked in Rubeki, the leather cities, yes. And now we're trying to do a similar one in Alexandria as well in Al-Amiriyah. So SMEs is the target, and it should be dealt with some sort of sensitivity due to their creditworthiness status.
Thank you so much, Hossein. And I think we can have our first caption here. And our first caption here is that while SMEs is very important for the Egyptian economy, SMEs is a direction from the Central Bank of Egypt, right? SMEs are also no sustainable development without SMEs as part of the supply chain. You found a challenge and you innovated a solution Exactly. فهنا the idea, the whole pattern of the idea is more or less very consistent with international finance. The local context understanding and the innovation should come bottom up, because it will not be able to bring it on shelf. It's something that needs to be created. I'm sorry, Hussein, that's a final question. And this is what we are in fact asking for. I can see all of us working in silos. This is a best practice. Have you reported on this best practice for banks, for other entities to grasp this opportunity, this innovation?
Yes, we are working obviously with very close. I forget to mention that we have 5 participant bank in the program, and we have an apex bank, which is البنك الرائد, البنك الأهلي. However, we start accepting additional banks. The banks comes, they present to us a very good added value because they have already a pipeline of clients. So, and that's why, remember when I said there we are not finding each other. So the bank with their pipeline or the outreach for the SMEs can fill in that void and build a vehicle of connections between the facility, the program, and the end users. So yes, we have been sharing this with clients, and we put them together on the table for us, because obviously, if a holding company is coming and they are co-signing a loan agreement with these SMEs, we definitely need the buy-in from the bank. So from maybe today, I will take the opportunity to invite the African Development Bank, International Development Bank, to join us in our upcoming phase 4 under GSI, the Green Sustainable Industry, which I believe together with your strong clientele base as Haitham, and the availability of funds, which is compromised with the or added value with the grant, would be a win-win situation for all these triangle: the lending institution, us as a governmental representative, and the end user itself. So hopefully we'll be able to further discuss that later on. Thank you.
Appreciate if inviting me and Dr. Salah to the signing ceremony between you, okay, as being compliance in the crime.
For sure, you need to witness that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Accomplice in the crime, and then we can show this video for the
and that will be a good
ceremony.
success story from out of COP.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think this could be a success story out of COP. Thank you so much for this insightful, innovative solution that you provided in order not only to troubleshoot the challenge of voidness, either in your relation with banks, but also you took an extra step in your relation after the bank to solve the problem of the bank itself by innovating this holding company concept in order to troubleshoot more problems. And I think with this mentality, you have a value chain and you are putting all the risks, all the challenges, and you have a strategy in order to address these risks and challenges. And what I learned now is that if we are talking regulations, technology, finance, risks, I think the question is not whether which is the most important, but rather which is the most important at which point in the value chain. Sometimes at one point it's risks, in other points it's awareness, in other points it's data, and therefore with more partners, everybody can mitigate a portion in the risk with the realm of his own know-how. Correct? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this. Bringing this, having this insight from the supply side. Definitely the demand side, definitely agree and disagree with some points. But from the demand, I would like you, Doctor, to reflect for us your perspective and appreciate first to introduce us yourself and Sadek, and second, to talk with us about your journey with the EPAP, what you found very helpful in the journey, and what was the challenges that you faced. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Hussam. Actually, I'm happy that we can have this session while we are on nearly on the end of COP27, and we are all of us are happy with the good organization of the event. My name is Muhammad Salahuddin. I'm working as Quality, Energy, and Excellence General Manager in SEDBIC. My scope or my department scope is including sustainability and strategic planning. When we are talking about ESG, we have a long journey about this, rather either risks or opportunities. But anyway, I always like to say where we are now. Now we have a decarbonization strategy in our company, and this decarbonization strategy, including a very ambitious goal to achieve around 18% from our greenhouse gas emissions, including scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. And this is the challenge actually, because 18 from the three scopes equal more than 40% of our energy consumption. So it's very challenging. But to reach to this stage, to put this such ambitious goal, that means you have a long story behind. This long story started from around 10 years ago, when we have an energy management system certified according to ISO 15001. When we see a lot of companies have this certificate and also working in energy efficiency, but we don't have an effective energy management system in place. And this is the point in our company. We have an effective energy management system. This effective energy management system encourage us to starting after finishing a lot of low cost and no cost opportunities to go to the high investment opportunities to invest in the energy efficiency and in the greenhouse emissions and so on. This is started by hiring a reputable consultant, international consultant, which is KBC. They delivered a good roadmap for energy efficiency improvement, and this roadmap includes some quick wins and also medium investment and high investment. And when we have the report from this consultant, actually this was a driver to submit our project to EBAB, for example, because we have a very good report and very representative, let's say, financial or even conceptual stuff. And we started from here to invest to submit our request to EBAB, and they found us as almost ready for everything, because when we are talking about compliance to environment law, this is almost a mandatory, and we did it from day one in the company. But to go further, this is the story. And one of the investment costs, high investment costs, was regarding the CHP, combined heat and power. We will replace one of our boiler in the plant by a new unit to generate the same amount of steam, in addition to around 7.5 electricity, which is around 30% of our electricity consumption. This type of projects is what we need in the industry to have this type of project, because when we are thinking from the industry side, we cannot put that environment and climate change are the drivers for our work. It is not the fact, and we have to realize this, and we have to face this fact. The fact is, when the driver is always the economic factors. not the environment. And when we have some good awareness in the company that and good leadership commitment also, that encourage the investment, because they are completely convinced by that the work in towards the environment and the energy efficiency, for example, is really a good profitable work. We have this back in our bottom line, and this is the main issue in the story, because all the companies are working and saying that we have initiative and so on. For example, we have already solar cells in our company, but with a very little amount of power. And even if who is following our side events and everything in COP27, we didn't mention them at all, because they are not the real work. The real work is in the energy efficiency improvement that reflects a real profit to our company. Other than that, the work cannot be done in the industry. This is the main issue.
Thank you so much, Doc. And coming back to debug the story with you. So what I learned from this story is that your journey with sustainability in general started before your engagement with the EPAP. And this is something that is very important because it cannot go the other way around. And in fact, I can witness both cases. I can witness a client who have a project with economic feasibility that found coincidentally that it has environmental impact. So it goes to the EPAP telling it, we have the environmental impact, let's do this, without having embedded in place strategies and directions and policies. And these projects represent part of the transformation itself, right? Accordingly, and this is very insightful, because I think when the EPAP will find a similar case with a project that reduces the reduction, but it is done without being strategized within the organization, I don't know. The EPAP definitely will accept it because there is the business case, but can play a more role with the technical know-how through strategizing this process within a transformational journey of the client, right? And I will come to you, Hussein, on this in the second round. So this is very important. And you mentioned another thing that is very important. This does not start without leadership commitment. So, and this is in fact something we are witnessing a lot with our clients. Leadership is very important. One mistake I can see all sustainability managers doing is that they are pushing on the leadership to adopt transformational journeys. From my perspective, this is not the role. Your role is decision support and not decision making. You need to highlight the opportunities, the risks, the challenges that exist, and leave the leadership to take its role in making the right decision or the wrong decision, because this is his role. Because when he takes the decision out of conviction, not out of pushing on him, because he likes you, for example, as a sustainability manager, he comes back blaming. I did it for you. No, you did it. You didn't did it for me. You did it for the organization, and the transformation is for the organization. And I was a decision supporter. I think this is something in the process. So you have the leadership. You have first of all the decision support report, and then you have a leadership awareness and commitment, and then you started the journey, and then you find an opportunity. You conceptualize whether it's bankable or not. You went to the EPAP. You told them, I have this, and let's see what we do this. From here on, what happened with the EPAP in steps from your perspective? How would your journey work?
I think from this point we submitted our request to EBAP, and they started working with us in the technical analysis and technical study for our case. and they make some kind of validation for our case because actually I received from them a very comprehensive technical report, which is an add value. And this report support me when I'm make the agreement with the bank, and also when make the agreement with the consultant to prepare the documentation. So this is a very important point, and also I can have your words yesterday. The legislative support. This is a very important role. Maybe not happened in our case, but it is valid in most of the cases. And after this, I think all the agreements with the banks was really smoothly, because we are a good client for different banks, and I hope with AII, Arab African International Bank, we are also, I think we might work with them, not so much, but in the future we have an opportunity to develop our cooperation. So it was done smoothly with the banks, and we already make all the contract with for the loan agreement with the bank, and now we are starting in the development of the technical studies. And today, by the way, today we received the technical offers, and we will open the envelopes for the technical. And we have also, I think we are going on at the end of the project, and it's for me it was a challenge to have a tight schedule, and the project manager really did a very good work, and we are almost stick to the schedule, and we are on the right way now. So it's a very interesting experience. However, many people are saying like something else. But when we are get this experience, that for me it's based on the client. The performance of the client is very important when cooperation with IBAB or any other supporting organization.
This is beautiful again from this simple journey. Yet there is a lot of lessons learned. One of the lessons I learned now is that the technical support, the definition of technical support needs to be elaborated on. I mean, when EPAP say we provide technical support, we don't understand what kind of technical exactly. And I think what kind of technical support is provided at each phase in the cycle and what does technical support means is very important in this respect. Another thing that you are doing here, besides the financial support, the technical support and legislative support, from my perspective, which is a very important selling point, is risk mitigation. Because after they did the study, the bank now is more comfort and secured that the, the financial partner with the technical know-how and expertise in the industry is putting his stamp on the case. But for the bank, it goes على طول direct if you are supporting not only the client but also the bank. Please, Hussein.
I just want to add something to your point that you mentioned just before we start the panel, Ihab, when you said the history behind IPAP, the number of projects behind IPAP make IPAP where we are today. Why I'm saying that? Because we have something called BAT, Best Available Techniques. So we establish different projects, could be similar project or at least similar industries, so we can go and share this know-how with the new clients. So we can tell them, listen, we did it this way with client A, but it didn't work with client B. So those are the two options how you want to implement it. And to you, and couldn't agree with you more. This kind of comparison and de-risking from a technical point of view, give a level of assurance to the lending institution, to the bank. But if you allow me, I just want to ask Dr. Mohammed Salah one question, because it's important for me. Thank you for all the good word you said about EPAB, but can you please tell me what could be better? So, like you said, you mentioned the good things that went. What didn't go well, or what didn't go up to maybe your expectation or your leadership? Because that's how we can get better. If you can give us your view on that, it will help us.
Agree, but this is the second round. You took it from the moderator. Now you hijacked me.
Sorry.
Not at all.
He was saying
Definitely.
good things, so I wanted-
Definitely. I will do this. Thank you so much. I think with this in mind, and with the banker on the panel, what you have just heard right now is a story of a bankable project that passed through a path that maybe was part of the bank orientation and DNA, or maybe for a bank it doesn't work this way. Okay? First of all, I would like to take your reflection on this story, and then we will move forwards to the next question. What happened in your mind? How, just shoot us. What
Okay.
was the major theme that came to your mind?
Let me give you my banker experience, but also my transformational experience, because I look at these things and wonder, with all of those people on COP27 have genuine intention to go green, to have sustainable finance, and they feel it's important and everything. And so what happened when the reality, when the rubber hit the ground, that they say, and why we're not doing it every day, why we have only 5% of the funds only, or 10% going to Africa, what's wrong in the process? And reflecting on what you said about SME, I think the ESG advocates need to learn a lot from the digital transformation advocates. In what sense? It's not about having a better program, it's about working the journey of the consumer at the end of the day, the SME. And it makes a big difference. To tell you that what we had, for example, on our side, I remember we had always like an online banking. It's an example, and we always said it's a good online banking. Why don't people do it? It's very important for them. And then when we studied the way they use it, the psychology, the journey, and then we came up with a totally new one. Now we have 80% of the people don't come to our branch and use this online bank. It's nothing different. Both are online banking, both are nice ESG project, but some is consumable, some is not consumed. So back to your SME point, and when I talk to SME customers, I find a lot of them would like to do it, but they feel it's something that they either feel that's very difficult to consume, to apply to qualify for. The process of getting into this is still have friction. And I know we have to do friction because we have to give credibility to the process, because we need to qualify the whatever he's doing. But at the same time, if you put too much hurdle, people will not use it. If you and I think we need to put a lot of thinking, and I know it's not part of the main mandate of what you have, but it will help the bank to think with the likes of you, to see how can we make it so easy for the SME to consume it, and how to make it so easy for the SME to benefit from it. And in that case, banks automatically will be lining up in front of you and saying, please give us more, because we're actually a middleman. I need to take more from you to give to him, but he's not needing from me, so I'm actually really not interested to add more. So this is big part of our journey. The second thing, for big corporates, not an issue, because they have their guys, they work on the paperwork, they do the friction, so the big corporate will not feel it. They say to this employee, go discuss the agreement, finish it. I don't need to go into details, just do it. So big part of it in the friction. But generally, the concept, we are, as a bank, we're always cooperating with the likes of your organization, because we have a big SME mandate. At the beginning of the year, we almost had nothing, and we had a mandate together with SME to make 25% of our business goes to SME, which is very aggressive to get a 50 years old bank and suddenly to change the DNA of the bank, to add 1/4 of it to do something else. And we did it. We're almost there. And for us, very important what we do in SME. And we actually have a side programs for us, which is, for example, women-led SME that can benefit more and more of this. But just to reflect mainly on this, on the process, as a banker, because you guys are the expert in this area much more than whatever I read, is me as a banker representing how the client think. Let us think together and packaging it in an easier format to make sure that the consumption is high, and listen a lot to our end user and customize your program to what this guy is saying, because the reality is here.
Again, thank you so much, Haitham, for this. I think, if you allowed me, and tell me I'm right or wrong, from what you have said, the name of the game here is convenience.
Yes, it's customer journey. From thinking in the morning, I want to do in the ESG direction or green finance, to the money in his pocket. What is happening to this guy?
Yes. And this guy is now acquainted to press a button on his mobile and he receives whatever he was seeking and searching.
Exactly. Or get a loan.
Exactly. Accordingly, the new client is not a facility client.
Yeah.
It's a product
Yeah.
client
Yeah.
that should be packaged according to his
Exactly.
needs.
And you can even go to the retail level and start to customize small products for them.
Yes.
I'm having a house. I want a solar panel. It's a few steps on the mobile. It's finance, because most of the people who did a solar panel in their house, their main issue is not that they don't believe in it. The mission is it's a capex. I want to pay 100,000, 200,000 to put a solar panel. I know in 4 years I will not pay electricity, but you know what? I don't have the money now. I don't want to squeeze my cash flow, and I don't know how complex the process is. You know what? Let me not do it. And I'm telling you, 99% of the people who would have done it did not do it because the journey is not smooth.
Yes. And the journey, therefore, the name of the game again here from your perspective, it's the journey, understanding the journey.
Yes.
And here where I can think that EPAP also can support, because it can bundle SMEs through similar products.
Yes.
Right? So they will act not as an intermediary only between international financial institutions and multilateral development banks and banks, but also between banks and clients. This is the beauty of your second intervention.
Yes, and
right?
the bundle should be as simple as checklist. Instead of going through a process of qualification, it's like a pre-qualifying checklist. If you're this, take the loan by. If we manage to go to this level of smooth journey, offtake will be amazing.
Or if I think many things are changing now, from which is energy prices, that will make many consumers and customers from the SMEs think about alternative solutions, think about energy efficiency.
Yes.
And Dr. Salah just mentioned, yes, in our context, energy efficiency is much more important than renewable energy, and I think it is a third in costs. Yani the cost of reducing 1 kilowatt hour of energy efficiency, according to some studies that has been done in Egypt, is approximately 1/3 on average of 1 kilowatt hour of 1 kilo of energy generated. So we have a very big room for energy efficiency yet, and with this big room in energy efficiency, this means that there is and with technology of energy efficiency available and tested and proved. So we have the business case, we have the technology, we have the finance. Accordingly, energy efficiency could be a very big part of this transformational story of Egypt. And I think this is very untapped blue ocean that we can all work on.
Exactly.
And in this, I think also we can coordinate with. I don't know whether you are coordinating with this energy efficiency program in Egypt. The energy efficient doctora, I will remember her name. La. There is an energy efficiency program in Egypt under the Ministry of Industry and Trade. Doctora Jihan Bayoumi. Yes, right. I think Jihan Bayoumi has the technology, right? UNIDO, I'm sorry. Yes, UNIDO, exactly. She's the head of the UNIDO. We have the technology, we have the finance, and we have the clients. If you allowed me here, Haitham, to say that what is needed is that we need to raise the awareness of the client.
Yes.
I want to bring the client on board. Okay, you can establish a program particularly for sectors with energy efficiency potential.
Exactly.
Bring them. We will bring UNIDO, we will bring LIPAP, and we will bring a success story.
Exactly. People who did it before, it's doable. Guys, don't be worried. It's not as difficult as it seems.
And here is the business case, right?
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
Let me, before we going more and more through the energy efficiency, I want to present another activities regarding the ESG in SEDBIC, because we are, SEDBIC is producing the polyethylene, the raw material of plastic, the great enemy of the world. But it is not so, because we cannot get rid of all plastic in few years. And I want to describe how our mindset is. We are going now to make the real studies for producing a biodegradable and bio-based plastic. This is PLA, the polylactic acid. And this is a very important project, and where we need finance and also legislations, because the prices of such PLA is almost triple the normal prices of the other polymers from the fossil fuel. And this is a very important point. We need legislation to encourage the companies to, the large companies to do this. And also we need a finance, but at this level, the financing is much larger. We are talking about hundreds of millions of dollars, not just 10, like energy efficiency project, for example. So we need, at this point, we need the finance for such great projects, that large projects. And this is what will, such biodegradable plastic will replace the applications of single-use plastic. This is a very important point, and it will. I think now we are going to the marketing study is already under one of the highest reputable organizations, and also this is a very important part of our work. The other part regarding the SMEs, because we are a large company, but we have a new model with UNIDO to build a peer-to-peer network, actually, to build a peer-to-peer network for having a network between our customers, the plastic manufacturers. And this peer-to-peer network is consisting of supporting them, to give them technical support and training, and to make a capacity building program based on our experts that were already qualified by UNIDO in energy management system and in system optimizations as well. And also we have another part where we don't have experts qualified in SEDBIC. We will outsource another consultant to make this regarding the solar water heating and solar cheap solar heating in industrial processes, actually. And this is very important, because this is another important model. The large companies almost all the large companies have many in the supply chain, many SMEs, and the large companies could support the SMEs, but with a help of some international companies or some financing institute and so on, because we have a project with UNIDO with a part of contribution to this project from SEDBIC as a kind of our CSR and our development regarding the SDGs in general. And also another part to be contributed and financed by UNIDO. And this is a very important model. And I think in this, as we are talking about the SDGs, I always love to say that SDG 17 says it all, because it is a partnership. Yes.
Thank you so much. I think we are not going partnerships. Partnerships are coming to us. Yani. We are not heading toward this. In fact, what's happening on ground is that we need partnerships. Partnerships is not a goal; it's a tool in itself among the goals in order to achieve what we. And the beauty of the simple story, and the beauty is in the simple story and not in the complicated story. The beauty is in the real and simple. And from you raised a very important point, Hussein. Do you do blended finance? Yani, can you join AAIB, for example, to provide blended finance?
Yes. The answer is yes, and we've done it before, and we had an example where the required finance package for this project was at a different scale. So I mean, I can give you an example because it's public information. So Abu Qir Fertilizers, in their upcoming CO2 sequestration project, it's 100 million. The overall project cost is about in the neighborhood of 100 million, which is obviously above what we can provide for one project. So the maximum we can provide is 15, and then I changed it last year. It could go up to 25 million now. So they benefit from these 25, and they get the rest of the loan as a normal commercial bilateral loan with the bank, with any bank. But by doing this, by getting the first 25 from EPAB, they first benefited from the grant portion. So this, like I said before, undermine or affected the overall effective interest rate on the overall loan. Plus, they benefit from the technical support, the logistic and legislative, and so far and so on. So yes, we can present, we can come in as a team and blend in as on a portion of an overall umbrella loan.
Brilliant. Why this is brilliant? Because from Haysam's perspective, I think if he can contribute with this portion, he will bring the cost of funding of any project that you will work on down.
Exactly.
And you can utilize this by reviewing your portfolio, because you may find already in your
areas that they
portfolio
cannot use.
exactly some projects that are already eligible.
Yes.
Yeah. If I may say also, just one point on that area, not just blended loan, but we also integrate with our what I call them our competitors. They are not competitors. We all really compete for the benefit of the end user. So there is similar programs, similar facilities in the market. And without naming them now, but I can name one, Central Bank of Egypt. They have the initiative, which is a very competitive 8% facility. So we can integrate with that. We have been actually talking with our participant bank to integrate EPAB with the CBE initiative, مبادرة البنك المركزي. And by doing this, the end user, because at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want the end user to benefit. And I like what you said. The beauty is to keep it simple and smooth, not to complicate it. By integrating this and doing the backstage work that we need to do between EPAB, between the banks, we make that product, we present that product on its simplest way to the end user. So not just blending the financial package, but also integrating with other similar programs.
Totally agree. And I think a catch up here is we were always in the past thinking either cooperation or competition. Today, there is a room in the middle that we may call co-opetition. It's a room between both. And those who will do good business are those who will be able to sit on the table despite being competitors. And serve and develop a product that, and this is, I think, a shift in the mentality, that needed from our side to serve the project. And by the way, I think the only persons who complicate the matter is the consultants. To make more money. But this is, or the lawyers, exactly. But and this, there are blended finance. They can integrate in the portfolio, and you already conducted your impact assessment
Yes.
reports.
Yes.
Having the impact report, you have now clusterized the segments, identified the impact, identified those eligible projects that could be eligible for finance from the EPAP. You can inject a part, and then this will increase your competitive advantage in the market.
And also, and if we take blended finance and even take it to the next level, there's a lot of opportunity to do interesting structure within banks to consume more. So, for example, there's a big trend on supply chain, and taking from your point on multinationals, merge it with supply chain and looking at the ecosystem. You have a lot of big anchors like big multinationals or big corporates who's dealing with a smaller one or SMEs. And if we manage to integrate this program at an anchor level, so instead of you running after SMEs, even on a program basis, go after the big anchor who deals with the 300 SME and qualify those SMEs who are, and instead of taking the credit from the bank, fund this guy to fund those SME. Tell him, you get your SMEs to pay you in 1 month. These poor guys cannot pay in 1 month. I'll fund you here centrally, so I don't need to deal with 300 SMEs, and you give them credit for 6 months, fund indirectly.
Yes.
And this is the kind of things, if you want to deploy big funds quickly, getting this to spread in Egypt quickly, we cannot educate 100 million people suddenly. It's just, we need anchors, and we push it. We need to go to supply chain. We need to see how are these guys buying and selling and intermediate the purchase and make a lot of money there, or deploy a lot of money there. And again, do a bit of blended, do a bit of portfolio examination. It's a strategy on how to, I think we will, if we do this, we will consume much more than we think.
Thank you so much, Haitham, for this. And you mentioned something that's important from my perspective. It's no more a facility, it's a product, right? And the value chain is very important. The value chain is very important.
Yes.
SIPC can create a movement in the value chain. And by the way, this is the definition of leadership. Leadership is not a slogan. Leadership is somebody who is always ahead of the curve with this initiative. And the spillover effect of leadership turns to be very beneficial in all times, in all cases. This is what we discovered there. Very interesting, yet because the time is running out of us, I will have 2 rounds, 60-second question for each of you. And this is the beauty of it. It's 60 seconds. I'll start by Hussein. Hussein, if you want something from the client, one thing from the client, and you would need one thing from the bank, what would you ask for to facilitate the whole process?
Sure. A smart, educated client is always helpful, and I have to give SIPC kudos for that, because they made our life easier. When they come, we discussed that earlier. When they came prepared, they expedite the whole process. So that's certainly it's always a plus. We cannot expect that for smaller size, obviously, because we're talking about a mid and large, even a large cap. Maybe it's always a challenge from SME. We need to take their hands. We need to, basically take them through the journey together. And so that's what, in terms of expectation. Now, 30-second for the bank. What I need and expect from the lending institution is to the devils is in details. So if we can really simplify as much as we can those details ahead of time, we can take as much time as we want, but let's do it one time in the beginning, on the not at the project tail or during the project, but at the project front. If we take care of these details in the front once for all, it will help a lot. I know it's a financial risk. I know you have to study it, and you have to provide the credit worthiness. الجدارة الائتمانية sits with you But it's always helpful if we can do it one time in the beginning, not during the process. That's one thing. Another expectation from the bank is to work together mutually to market the product. I like what you said. Yeah, it's a product. What we are selling a package, a facility. I don't have the same outreach that the bank have. So if they can share with me their pipeline, or at least direct or send to my direction to APAP, help me marketing that product, I think that would be great.
Thank you so much, Hossein. Two things Hossein mentioned. One, educated clients. How educated, by the way, how educated sustainability department, and this is what is meant by educated clients. And second thing is planning ahead. Planning, and then implementation. We can go quicker afterwards. Thank you for both. But you got something very, very strange to my attention. And I think this solved a very big question mark in my mind. Marketing role in the coming period in the banking sector is completely different.
Yep.
I think marketing departments need to think retail, like retail. They need to exactly. You are selling our products. You need to have this mentality of selling a product, and co-partnership in selling the product is something that is very important. Thank you so much, Hassan, for this. Thank you. Doctor, one thing from EPAP and one thing, more than one thing from EPAP, because he mentioned that I want to hear about what can be better.
Actually, I not from EBAP, but I need many entities like EBAP. This is the main important point, because when in Sedbic we have sometimes we don't have a real finance for our project, but why we need this kind of finance for ESG project? Because sometimes it's very difficult to us to convince the top management. It's not our case for this last 2 years, but maybe in the future and in the past, it's not so easy to convince the top management to invest in ESG projects. And from the bank side, actually, I need some role from the banking in general regarding build some more agreements with EBRD, for example, or other funding entities to support us. And when we come to our clients, we need some kind of new business models to support the SMEs through the large companies. This is, I think, this an important point as well.
What is beautiful is that you made a link between the finance that you take. First of all, this means that EPAP is successful. I want more EPAP. Congratulations, Hussein, for this. This is number one. But he needs competition, and he needs more. Thank you. This is number one. Number two, he mentioned that the supply chain. I think what I can add a little bit is, I'm totally with you, to address the SMEs. SMEs are part of the supply chain.
Yes.
So supply value chain and SMEs are one thing. So you can bundle them through a leadership company that have or that are working with all of them as suppliers. He could be the holding company from a business perspective, and he could be the holding company from a technical perspective also, right?
Because the new results that we are want to reach needs new business model.
Exactly.
This is but the old business models cannot be run and get a new result.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Doctor, for this. Haitham, if you need something from EPAP and from the client.
Let me put it this way. If you qualify what you're offering as a product, I think what we request is that we should think together of the packaging, because every product has packaging. And I think what the product is beautiful, but the packaging is what we really need to work hard on. And what I mean by packaging is that how we not just sell it as is, how can we work together on thinking of for this ecosystem or for this supply chain or for this kind of SMEs? How can we make life so easy for them to do it? What do they really need when they consume it? What's stopping all of our SME to go this way? And if we really think together on how to package it, not change the fundamentals of the product, but package it correctly, I think we can untap a big area that we never tapped before. So this is for us very important, and especially if you think in consumer, retail, or SME, corporate is easy, but those two need a lot of packaging that we need to think of. I talk to a lot of SMEs. Most of them are really interested to be part of this, but most of them feel like I have a lot to worry about. I don't have the bandwidth to struggle through this to qualify myself, or I have other, this urgent and important rule. I have a lot of urgent things that doesn't make me those important ones. So a lot of things you need to go into packaging it with the customer, on the same table. This is what we do. We have this digital factory in New Cairo now, where we have on the table us, the customers, everything, and we're co-creating products with them. And this is the best adoption we ever see in our life, because the customer created it from his own perspective. We always assume that the customer wants this. He doesn't want this. And the second thing, on the customer side, not much, but on the customer side, I think we're working a lot in embedding it in our policies. I think we need to hear more from them. And I think it's more on us to adapt to them than them requesting them to do anything for us.
Thank you so much. And I think the beauty of the closure now is that we will return back to your strategy, customer centricity.
It is really, it's all about customers.
I think we have done the homework with you today. This could be your strategy towards ESG, integration into customer centricity. Haitham, thank you so much for your insights. Dr. Salah, thank you so much for this. Hossein, thank you so much for being with us and being with us. I learned a lot today, and I hope we can share this online for others to learn from. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.